How many times have we heard cracking your knuckles will cause arthritis, or that you need 8 glasses of water a day, or that you shouldn't swim at least an hour after eating, or you could drown? Some of us have believed these myths for years and still may yet believe them even after hearing this. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know if all these are true, but I do have 25 myths that even high performing and well dressed individuals believe, that's affecting not only their personal brand, but their evolution and development and style. Now, this isn't the you can't wear brown in town or blue and black don't go together. You can do both, by the way. These are myths that the modern man has been following because style has become so broad that most men don't know where to go. And once you break these myths, you can stop performing and start leading. And if you want to stop worrying about the myths and start building your own style, I created the signature style system linked in the description below in this video. It's a breakdown of the key visual elements every man needs to project presence and command. Try this on, see how it fits you. Now, before we break these myths down, let's be clear on what a myth actually is. Now, a lie is told to deceive, but myths are often told to explain. It's a story we often accept, one that helps us fit in, simplify decisions, or make sense of what we don't know or understand yet. So, a young person noticed that their mom was cutting the ends off a pot roast before putting it in the oven to cook it for dinner. They'd seen their mom do this numerous times before and were really curious as to why she did it. So this time they decided to ask. And when they did, their mom replied, "I don't know why I cut the ends off, but it's something that I saw my mother do. So I guess you could ask her." So they picked up the phone and they called their grandmother. And they asked Grandma, "Why do you cut the ends off the pot roast before cooking it?" And their grandmother replied, "I don't know. That's just the way my mom always cooked it. So maybe you should call your great-grandmother." So the kid hung up the phone with his grandmother, picked up the phone and called his great-grandmother and said, "Great-grandma, why do you always cut the ends off of your pot roast?" And she thought about it, and just as she was about to say, "I don't know," she laughed and said, "Well, when me and your great-grandfather were first married, the oven that we would cook food in was too small to fit an entire pot roast in, so we cut the ends off." So a myth can start off with a purpose, and it can even have some logic when it's repeated often enough and we stop questioning it. And that's the danger. See, a lie says you can't do this, but a myth whispers, this is how it's always been done. That's actually why myths can be more dangerous than lies, because they hide in plain sight. And when you let them go unchallenged, they become the limits you didn't even agree to. Let's try these myths on to see why they don't fit you. Myth: every guy can wear everything and any guy can wear anything. Truth: men need to know what actually looks good on them. And initially they'll feel that they are restricted or that they don't have as much variance as everybody else. But they're actually creating resonance by looking their best and paying attention to their physique and understanding not only what looks good on them, but what actually is reducing their image when it doesn't fit their body type or their physique. Myth: white dress shirts can't be stylish. Truth: depending on the texture, the patterns, and the collars, a white shirt can actually be very distinguished and stylish while being tasteful. Think, a spread collar white shirt looks very different than a button-down collar white shirt, which looks very different from a one-piece collar white shirt. All white, all distinguished, all different. Myth: real style is only about clothing. Truth: style is the script you write visually. It's presence, not just presentation. It is how you walk, how you talk, and how you interact. And your clothing should reflect that. Myth: traditional style or classic style is the only one with classics. Truth: every style actually has classics, just like music. It is the items that stand the test of time throughout generations, have been remixed and repurposed, and that can still be utilized no matter what age you are. If you're a young guy, you may look a little bit more sophisticated. If you are an older gentleman, then you may find ways to reinvent or repurpose that piece in a more sophisticated or refined way. Myth: your style says nothing about you. Truth: your style scripts your day and ultimately your life. This is why I remind gentlemen that we've heard that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And if we were to write those out, it would be a page. Because if you choose to, you are authoring how you are going to be experienced without saying a word each day that you decide to step out in style. Myth: you need to know everything about style in order to dress well. Truth: mastering style is actually layered. What's most important is that you know your proportions, your personality, and your presence. Not everything about style. Quite frankly, I don't know everything about style, and I'm still very much a student. But with each passing experience of working with individual clients, I learn more about style while my clients learn more about themselves. And that's the most important thing. Myth: style should be effortless. Truth: style requires repeated, intentional effort and even some guidance. What looks effortless to most is often refined repetition over years and years of self-mastery and personal decisions about how they present themselves. Myth: there are no rules in fashion. Truth: the men who rule set the standard. And any person who doesn't have any strategy is not going to create style. They're going to create noise. Even if it's just the noisy chaos that you see walking down the runway. And if you follow it, you're just as loud and chaotic as they are. And you are being ruled by somebody else's expression, not your own. Myth: your style should change for different occasions. Truth: your style should remain consistent with variations for different scenes. Imagine this. If you are a Western cowboy-esque type of dude, that doesn't mean that you're going to throw on cowboy boots and jeans to a formal event. But what that may mean is that you decide to throw on leather fringed trousers, a white dress shirt, and a bolo tie with a Western back tuxedo. You're staying true to who you are while still honoring the occasion. And you can definitely switch the fringe chaps for a pair of dark dressed denims. If people know you, they'll actually appreciate the sincerity in your style. Myth: you need a lot of different looks to be stylish. Truth: think like your favorite film character. They don't actually have a lot of looks. Rather, their variation in expression creates variation in their presentation, not their identity. Myth: creating a signature style will get boring. Truth: alignment and focus actually sparks creativity. Style that fits you evolves organically as you ascend through business, through social interactions, and through your own taste level. You'll start to find that that signature style only continues to elevate as you do. And what could be more exciting than that growth? Myth: labels make you stylish. Truth: labels are tools. They are guide rails for those who don't really have a full understanding of their own signature or personal brand. But they're not your identity. Style scripts the story, not logos. Myth: elegance requires formality. Now, this is something a lot of guys miss. But truth is, elegance is just simplicity balance, and intentional detail, not necessarily formality. Just think, a man in a button-down collared shirt with a beautiful pair of jeans and loafers with a elegant belt can be just as elevated as a guy who is in a navy blazer, a white shirt, a tie, a pair of gray trousers, and some Oxfords. Because both of these people are paying attention to the balance and they are being intentional about their expression. Myth: fit is everything. Truth: while that is true, it's a oversimplification that most guys use when they're talking about the size of what they're wearing. But real fit is about understanding the scale, the size, and the silhouette that define true fit. Myth: fabrics don't affect the fit of the garment. Truth: fabric, drape, texture, and structure can drastically shape a visual outcome of a ensemble or a piece that you are tailoring. So it's important to understand how fabrics work for or against you. Something we'll talk about in a future video. Myth: fabrics are the only thing that affect warmth and coolness. Truth: weave, weight, work, and color all matter when it comes to whether something will be cool and breathe or will be warm and insulating. And when you have an understanding of how all of these things work together, not only does your style elevate, but you literally become cool because you understand how your core temperature works with your ensemble choices. Myth: jackets are the most important investment. Truth: while all of the items that you purchase matter, shirts actually matter more than jackets because they frame your face, they touch your skin, and they're often going to be seen the most, even when you choose not to wear a jacket. Myth: tailored clothing is only for work, weddings, or formal events. Truth: tailoring is actually a mindset applied to any context, even in your leisure or your downtime. And it doesn't have to be overly formal. It's actually just about paying attention to the balance of every look that you put on, casual to formal. Myth: double-breasted jackets are too formal or outdated. Truth: DBs are actually having a moment. They are coming back. And DBs with soft silhouettes express quiet confidence and leadership. They elevate a casual look and add formality and structure to a more serious look. So don't sleep on the double-breasted jackets. They may actually be a great addition to your wardrobe. Myth: a blazer must be blue with metal buttons. Truth: blazers actually originated in deep burgundy. So forest green, wine, and cobalt blue are just as classic, especially when they are styled properly to create a universal look for any occasion. Myth: peak lapels only belong on formal suits. Truth: soft peak lapels in casual fabrics equal relaxed elevated elegance and can be just as beautiful with a dressy pair of jeans or a casual pair of flannels or chinos. Myth: flat front trousers are always better than pleated. Truth: body type dictates silhouettes, and pleats can be more flattering on some body types, including my own, over flat fronts that may do more harm than if their hips and their seat had movement and places to breathe when they sat down. Myth: all trousers should be wide-legged to be modern. Truth: tapered or flowing, a proportional leg line outlasts trends and will always make you look like you're in style, even if it's not what's in vogue. Myth: cuff trousers make you look older. Truth: cuffs ground your look, add polish, and balance a silhouette. So don't be so quick to dismiss a great cuff on your trousers. Myth: drawstring trousers are lazy wear. Truth: tailored drawstrings can create elegance, comfort, and versatility. And depending on the fabric and the way that each one of those other elements are styled, it can actually create a more elevated professional expression in those casual workspaces without drawing too much attention to itself. Myth: only dress pants are appropriate with a sport coat. Truth: if you think about the history of a sport coat, it was often worn for sports, so you don't actually have to be dressy in those situations. And harmony often comes in contrast. Texture, weight, color, silhouette are what matters, and what will give a sport coat a elevated, elegant appeal, or will create leisure and sophistication to a casual look. Myth: all suits are formal. Truth: there is such thing as a casual suit, whether it's a wool flannel in the fall and winter, a brushed cotton in the spring, or a linen that's worn in the summer. Each one of these create a understated, much more relaxed expression when you put them on. And this is why you can see a lot of these different fabrics and ensembles worn with tees and sneakers. Myth: formal and professional mean the same thing. Truth: true professionalism adapts to an industry. Formality in a casual work environment can actually create distance. It's important to understand how you can connect and elevate the environments that you're in, because sometimes being too formal actually is unprofessional. Myth: dark navy and charcoal are the only appropriate business colors to wear. Truth: tobacco, forest, burgundy, or a plethora of other different types of colors show taste, courage, and confidence. When you understand the business industry and the environment that you work in, you'd be surprised at how well these different colors can create connection and elevation in your business sector, and how sometimes the navy or the charcoal formal colors can create distance because you seem too serious when you are trying to collaborate with those around you. Myth: you can't mix patterns tastefully. Truth: with scale, proximity, and intensity, up to 4 patterns can actually work together harmoniously. If you don't believe me, you should check out Alan Flusser's book, Dressing the Man, to see how it can be done. Myth: quality clothing shouldn't cost that much. Truth: if you truly want quality, you're either going to pay in time or in money. So you should decide which one matters more to you. I'll tell you, a lot of the businessmen that I work with would happily trade money to compress time in developing their signature style, because they can always get more money, but they can't get more time. Myth: there are clothes every man must own. Truth: style should be built on your actual lifestyle, not on outdated rituals. If you are a blue collar guy who happens to like dressing well, you probably don't need a tuxedo in your closet, because you're not running in those circles, at least not yet. And until you are, it's a waste of money to have that sitting in your closet unused. Myth: you can only be well dressed if you dress up. Truth: true style is a cohesion across all occasions. Casual can be elegant, formal can be relaxed, and professional can be an amalgamation of any of those, depending on the context. Myth: dressing well is easy. Truth: dressing well is simple, but not easy. It requires introspection, refinement, observation, and clarity if you truly want to have your own signature style that will stand the test of times. I know that that was well beyond 25. But here's the truth. The man who commands attention has claimed himself. He's dropped the myths, he's refined his message, and he now leads before he even speaks. So if you want to build a wardrobe that performs like a brand, start with that signature style system. It's free, it's practical, and it will transform how people see you before you speak. The link's in the description. Oh, by the way, the sound that comes from cracking your knuckles is actually from gas bubbles, and there's no correlation that it causes arthritis. And there's no conclusive evidence that 8 glasses of water are needed a day. It actually aligns with your body size and chemistry. And there's currently no scientific evidence that says that if you go swimming right after you've eaten, that it'll cause cramps and could lead to drowning. So now that we've dispelled the myths, if you're serious about upgrading how the world receives you, then the next video we're going to be talking about how archetypes, not influencers, will help you develop your style. This is where your image becomes influential.